to the show where stories unfold.
Let's go.
People doing big things, breaking the mold. They're changing the game, making waves every day.
Big move.
Shining bright with the work that is right.
Shine on.
This is Breaking the Silence with Nikki
Nicole in the building.
Unleash your inner voice and make some
Turn up.
noise.
Welcome to the Breaking the Silence podcast with Arthur, Nikki, Nicole. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Tell your cousin, tell your friend, tell your neighbor to come over here and break the silence with Arthur, Nikki, Nicole. Welcome to another powerful episode. Sit back and relax. Enjoy the conversation.
Welcome back, y'all, to another powerful episode of Breaking the Silence. Thank you so much for being here once again with me and supporting me. Where your voice, your story, your power takes center stage. I'm your host, Arthur, Nikki, Nicole, and I'm amplifying the voices that are rising with force in hip hop. Today's guest is, you know what? I always do this. We be backstage talking and vibing, and I still don't be asking, well, how do you pronounce your name? So you know what? I'm not going to even try it, but I'm going to just say Miss Shannon Johnson. She's going to tell you her stage name and the story behind that when she gets up here. She's from Oklahoma City, and she blends lyricism with bold energy, delivering music rooted in the female empowerment, self-worth, and resilience. So after her countdown, please welcome this amazing artist to the Breaking Silence platform. Hey, how you doing?
Hello. How are you doing?
I'm well. I see. I was gonna butcher your name, and I said, you know what? I forgot to ask you how to pronounce it. So, before we get started, tell everybody your stage name.
So my stage name is EszJay. So it's basically just spelled out SJ, but I just added a Z in there for a little, flair or whatever. So, but
Okay.
yeah, so.
Okay. SJ. All right. So my first question for you, I always ask everybody this question: when did you fall in love with the mic?
Ooh. Well, I started doing music when I was 14. And I really just started, for fun, just writing, having fun out here. I was in high school, freestyling with my friends. And of course, I was the only girl in the group rapping. And, and they're like, who is this girl? And then I started taking it serious probably about the past 5 years. And so my first show was about 5 years ago. And as soon as I touched that stage, it was over with. It was over with for me. So.
Wow. So 5 years ago, you said, you know what, I'm gonna take this serious. And you've
Yep.
been doing it since you was 14 years old.
Yep.
Wow. So what made you choose the genre of hip hop?
Really, like I wanted to sing when I was younger, but my mom said singing or dance when I was a kid, and I chose dance, which is obviously still an art form. I loved it. I did it from when I was 3 until I was 18. I loved the being on stage and having that stage presence, but obviously we know when you get older, being a dancer in a professional world is very difficult, very difficult.
Yeah.
So I started, I was like, you know what? Let me see what I can do with music. So that's when I started writing music in high school. And I was like, let me see where this can go for me, and, one thing led to another. And then one of my homegirls was like, actually, you really good. You should really take this for real. And I was like, you know what? Why not? Let's give it a try. Because I've always loved being on stage. I like the stage presence. I like, having that attention and people listen. So.
Nice. I'm starting to think your mom and my mom know each other because my mom told me it's either sports or band. Which one you gonna do?
No, for real. She was like, you can't do it all.
Right.
You can't do it all. You got to choose one or the other here. I can't afford it all.
So I chose band. I said, okay, we're gonna rock out with band.
Yep. There you go.
So what was the first song that you wrote?
My first song actually is called Reality. I actually wrote it after me and my first ex fiance broke up. We was together for 8 years, and it was just I took it really hard. So I really just started, writing my pain and everything on a piece of paper. And one thing led to another. It ended up sounding good. And that's really how I blew up. My homegirl actually put me on Facebook Live, didn't tell me about it.
Wow.
And I told her to just record me. I'm sitting here reading, my notebook. Sitting here reading my notebook. I'm thinking she's just recording me so I can see how I sound. No, this girl got me on Facebook Live. And before I knew it, I had like 3K views, and everyone's like, who is this girl? She's so good. She need to take it for real. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know I had all that, but cool. Say less. Like,
Oh, wow. That's a good friend. That's a good friend. She did you right.
we still friends to this day. She's one of the best homegirls, I swear, for sure.
Nice. So now what does that song process look like for you? Because some people start out with melody and or instrumental or something, or they have to be in like a quiet area to write. What's your
Mhm.
process like?
So I definitely have to be in a quiet area. I have to be by myself most of the time. I know a lot of people get in the studio, they can write real quick, get in there and in and out. I have to take time to really think about it because I want to make sure it's going to come across the way I want it to come across. I don't want it to be rushed. I don't want it to sound rushed and,
Right.
thrown together. Unless it's like a freestyle, obviously, yeah, you're going to go in there and freestyle, do what you need to do. But as far as like the writing process, I find a beat I really like and I kind of go from there if I'm feeling the beat. And, that's how I usually come up with a topic about something because the beat usually speaks to me. So, I mean, I obviously write anyways on a normal basis just about how I'm feeling and my days and stuff like that. And that leads to things as well. But it's usually the beat for me. It usually speaks to me. So,
Nice. So now I ask every artist this because I get different answers every single time. For you, what do you think it takes for a song to be a hit? The lyrics or the beat? Because honestly, me, I've always until I started meeting artists and I started recording my own stuff, I started looking at it a little bit differently.
hmm
Beginning, I started saying, it's the beat for me. If I hear the beat and then maybe like 5, 10 seconds of that song and it don't sound appealing to me, I'm gonna skip it. So I'm
right,
never gonna hear those lyrics. But
right.
now that I'm actually back into writing songs and trying to record myself, now I have a different outlook of it. Like, okay, now the lyrics matter too because you want them to hear what you're gonna say, but you
Exactly.
gotta catch the audience too. So what do you think makes a song a hit? The lyrics or the beat?
I think it depends on the audience, to be honest with you. It depends what audience you're trying to target. I feel like the younger generation these days, they hear a beat and they catch on and it's catchy. They like it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? We got TikTok making up dances and all
Mm-hmm.
that because of the beat, not because of the lyrics. You know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the older generation, they're going to listen to what you're saying.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it really depends on your target audience. And as far as like when it comes to me and what I do, I try to mix both. You know what I mean? I try to make sure it's a catchy beat, but at the end of the day, if you listen to what I'm actually saying, everything I talk about is the truth. So it's usually something that, I've been through or, something that actually happened or something that I found funny or, you know what I mean? And people are like, oh, I can relate to that, like whatever. So I try to combine the two together because I want to make sure that everybody can understand where I'm coming from and it can target a wide audience.
Right. So now with the music industry always changing, it's always something going on in the music industry, and plus it's so oversaturated with so many artists that are trying to make it, and it's blending to sound like the same voice. How do you stay grounded and motivated with it all going on around you, and still have that faith that I'm gonna make it regardless?
I try not to take people's opinions too much into consideration because at the end of the day, I do this for me. I'm telling my story and not everybody's going to like it. And that's just reality about it. Like not everybody's going to like what I'm talking about. Not everyone's going to, because I've had my fair share of people like, you should quit, you suck, this and that, whatever. But at the end of the day, I'm doing this for me. Like I want to tell my story and a lot of people like it. They're going to relate to it, and then there's a lot of people that are like, oh, you just another girl out here trying to, do her thing. And it's like, okay, that's your opinion. But there's a lot of people that actually, are like, hey, she's really good. So I try to just remind myself why I'm doing it. I do it for myself at the end of the day. Obviously, I want people to like me, but at the end of the day, you can't please everybody.
That's
So,
true. That's true.
so
Now, for somebody that's never heard you before, how would you describe your music and your sound?
I would say my sound is very versatile right now. I don't have a distinct sound, I would say. I started off really like trying to be like, telling my heartbreak and, that sort of thing. Now I've kind of moved into like the kind of club, upbeat, trying to get, the younger attention right
Mm-hmm.
now. So, and that's kind of been catchy for people, but I'm still trying to get, my lyrics in there too. So I feel like I'm very versatile when it comes to that. It's not one distinct sound. Like I can go from I'm telling a heartbreak song to hey, we're gonna turn up in the club and start twerking.
I know that's right.
So you know what I mean? I try to just keep it very versatile because if you try to stick to one sound, people are gonna get bored with it.
Right. Right.
Like people like I'm not gonna hate on any artist, but some artists start to sound the same. You know what I mean? And you're like,
Yes.
okay, it sounds like the song you did last week. You know what I mean? So try to switch it up. Do something different. Show them a different side of you that they've never seen before, and
Right.
then it's gonna take them by surprise. So
Exactly. I agree. I agree. So, how difficult is it for you as a female in the music industry? Because I've heard so many stories about females being in the industry and how, people expect them to do certain things to get to the next level type thing. How have you faced those challenges so far in the industry?
it's been very challenging. I'm not gonna lie. I've faced a lot of different challenges. Men definitely try to take advantage of females, and you have to look for that. If you don't know the music business side of things in this, then you're gonna ultimately lose at the end of the day. You have to know because if you go in there like, oh, I'm a good artist, like being a good artist is only going to take you so far. You have
That
to
part.
know and talk business with these men because they're going to look at you like you don't know nothing,
Yes.
unfortunately. And I'm not trying to hate on any man out there. I do respect men, but I'm such a empowering, like trying to empower women, out here that like we have to stand our ground at the end of the day because men will try to take advantage of that. So I try to just go out here with, the best foot forward. And I'm like, hey, like this is what I got to offer, and if they looking at me a different type of way, I'm like, you know what, that's cool. I respect you. I'm gonna move around.
There you go. There you go. But it's funny you said it that way because that's just like being a woman and taking your car to a shop to be fixed.
Hmm.
The first thing they think that you don't know anything about a car, so
Yep.
they're gonna try to take advantage of you and jack the prices up. So that's
Exactly.
the same thing in the music industry. So they're like, she don't know nothing about this business, so we're just gonna tell her that sign this contract and we're gonna do this and that. AZ, she got to do this. So that's the same concept. But
Yep.
you're right. You have to know that industry because there's a lot to it.
Yes, there is. And I'm still learning every day. Like I'm actually currently I've taught myself basically everything I know. Like I've read multiple books about music business. I've been YouTubing. I've been, I currently am, making my own music too. So I'm learning like the engineering side of things too. So I'm not going into a studio and they're looking at me like, do you even know what you're doing? Like, yeah, I do. So everything I do with the music I've taught myself. Like I YouTube, I study, like it's like homework. You know what I mean? Because if you want this bad enough, you're gonna learn and you're gonna teach yourself how to do it. And that's anything, career wise, like anything you do, career wise, you have to teach yourself. You have to do the homework, you have to study up on it, you have to learn. So it's just like another job. You have to learn.
Yes, you do. And people, I think why people get, taken by things because they don't understand when you're in something and you're in it to win it,
Hmm.
you have to get down to the books. You got to know what you're doing. And then not only that, you're going to try some things and
Yep.
everything is going to be a test or a trial and error. So you're
Hmm.
going to learn some things along the way and you got to also be writing that stuff down too. So you know not to go back to that.
Exactly. And you're gonna fail. There's been
Yes.
multiple situations I've already been in where, I was like, man, I learned from that. I'm not gonna do that again. Like I've already been in situations like that. And I'm like, okay, now I know better for next time. I know not to go about it this way. And, a big thing too, like my name has not always been SJ the way it is now. When I first started doing music, my name was literally Miss SJ.
Hmm.
And that's the whole reason I changed my name because I would reach out to promoters and things like that. And I'd be like, they'd be like, well, what's your stage name? Miss SJ. And they're like, oh, you a female. Yeah,
Mm.
is that a problem? And then they would feel some type of way. And so, when you're reaching out to these people and you say, my name's SJ, they don't know if you are male or female. They haven't talked to you on the phone. They haven't listened to your music. They don't know you. So that was a big change for me there. That was a big like reality check for me. I'm like, okay, I see where this is going. So
A name change. This saying Miss, will take you from different opportunities because now they know you're female.
yep.
Wow.
And they don't know until I get there now. I'll show up at these events. They're like, who are you? And I'm like, I'm the artist. How you doing? Nice to meet you.
How you doing?
And like, I'll usually have one of my homeboys with me or something, just, because as a female, I don't need to be out here traveling alone. So I
Right.
usually have one of my homeboys with me or something. And they're like, oh, you the artist? No, this is my artist. How are you doing?
I know that's right. I know that's right. Flip the script for him. Flip the script for him. I like it.
Exactly. So,
So, which one of your songs means the most to you and why?
um, probably, probably still Shannon. It means the most to me. That really was, and it's not one of my best songs. I'm not gonna lie. It was kind of thrown together. I kind of just threw it together real quick, But I really wanted to tell my story to people. And when I play that for people, they're like, "Man, I can hear it in your voice. I can hear that. The pain you went through, the things you went through. Like I can relate to that." So I feel like Still Shannon is one of the most relatable songs I have out right now, um, as far as that goes. But I would say Captain Stance is probably my biggest hit right now.
Mm.
Captain Stance is very upbeat. It's fun. It's catchy. A lot of people like it. So, but my ultimate favorite right now is Still Shannon, just because it tells my story, it tells my background, it tells things I've been through and stuff like that. So,
Nice. I love it. So, how do you know when a song is finished? Because I've written poetry, I've written songs, I've done it all. But, those type of things can go on and on and on. So,
hmm
how do you know when a song is finished and ready to release?
um, usually I don't know, I try to tell a story. So I try to, get to the gist of what I'm trying to say and come across. So I try to like narrow it down to, okay, I know I have this many bars to talk about what I need to talk about, and then I'm gonna go back into the hook or whatever. So I try to like think about it that way. I'm like, okay, I got this many bars to tell what I want to tell, and then if not, I'm gonna make a new song. You can always make a new one. Hey, I talked about this and this. We gonna make a new one about this.
Part two.
So
Okay, part two. But it's difficult. People say, poetry is music, but it's to me, it's a difference in the poetry and the songwriting process.
oh
Because
yeah,
like you said, you got those bars, you gotta
yeah.
be counting and this
Mhm.
type of thing. So do you write poetry before you write songs, or do you write just the song?
I usually just write just the song. I've never really wrote poetry. I'm all for it, and I've been to like poetry, like the little open mic stuff, and I love it. I don't think I could do it because I'm so used to rhyming. You know what I mean?
Mm.
That like poetry isn't all about rhyming, and that's what I love about it. Like I wish I could sit down and write poetry. It's something that I ultimately want to start working on because I know that's going to expand what I have to write about. So, I mean, that is one of my goals. That's funny that you mentioned that because it is one of my goals right now that I want to start working on doing that because not everything has to rhyme. You know what I mean? Not
Mhm.
everything, as long as it flows and it sounds right. Like, if you think about it, there is a lot of artists that don't make things rhyme and it sounds good.
Good. It
Yeah,
does. But you know
it
what I
does.
learned? Poetry and spoken word poetry, there's a difference.
Right.
And so, when you just sit down and you write the regular poetry, you rhyme and everything, that's different from going and performing it because now you gotta reconstruct that whole thing just
Yep.
to do it as spoken word. But I
Yep.
didn't learn that until like way, way, way out in the game. I was like, I don't think I could do spoken word.
Yeah. No, for real. It's different. It definitely is. It's a different essence for sure. It definitely is. I agree. I
So
agree.
what do you hope? What do you hope from your upcoming EP? What do you hope that your audience will take from it that they haven't seen from you yet?
I want to show a different side of what I'm doing. So the whole EP is going to be about, empowering women, bringing women up, showing that women don't need men out here. Like we can be independent. We can do our own thing. Like, yeah, if you got a man, you married, you cool. I'm happy for you. That's great. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, if you didn't have a man, where would you be? That's the real question you have to ask yourself. Like I'm all for, I want to get married one day and be with somebody. Obviously, like, everyone wants a family, and that's the ultimate goal in life for most people. Not everybody, but
Right.
I just want people to realize that, like, you don't need men or a woman or whatever, to each their own. You ultimately can do things on your own. And I hate when people say, well, I can't go out to eat by myself. I can't go do this by myself. And it's like, I'm so independent. I will go sit down at a restaurant by myself, hang out, have a blast. I'll go on trips by myself, and I don't know if that's just because that's how I was raised or what, but I feel like women are so scared to do that these days. And it's like, you can do it. Like, you can literally do anything you put your mind to. You can do anything a man can do in
But you know
reality.
what though? I can't do that either. I cannot take myself out to eat, but I can. I just feel weird sitting in, in a booth, or I guess I shouldn't sit in the booth. Maybe I should go to the bar or something. But I just feel weird, sitting by myself and looking around, and people like, well, she ain't got nobody. You know what I mean?
Hey,
I can't do
I'm
it.
not one to judge. I see people do it all the time, and I do it. I just don't care. I guess because I don't really care what other people think. I don't like. Okay, they're probably gonna stare at me for a minute and be like, "Oh, this girl's sitting here by herself." Okay, so what? Hey, how you doing? You want to join me? Like, like, hey, how you doing? Like, I'm so open minded. I guess it doesn't bother me. Like, because I still want to experience life. I
Right.
want to experience things. And it's okay to do things by yourself. Like, if you're ultimately happy and you have that self love, like, nothing else really matters. Like.
That's true. That's true. I agree. I agree. I want to get there one day. I'm gonna get there one day. I'm gonna get it. But you know what? So much be going on in the world though, too,
Hmm.
that sometimes it's not even safe for you to be out there by yourself.
That's true. And it depends where you're at too. Like, you got to be
That's true.
careful with that. You got to know the right areas and where you're going. Now, like I said before, I'm not going to, go on tour and travel, across
Hmm.
3 states by myself and perform. Not safe. Obviously, I'm going to bring somebody with me just to be on the safe side. When it
Right.
comes to things like that, yes, absolutely. Because you never know, especially with, the shows and stuff like that, you never know where you're going to be or what hood you're going to be in. And especially like being a female out here by myself, it's just not safe.
It's not
So,
safe. You're right. So now I'm gonna ask you three out of the box questions before we get to the verses and vibes.
okay.
If you could perform anywhere in the world, where would that be?
Hmm. I would probably go back to Honduras.
Mm,
I actually met a DJ in Honduras, and he's currently playing my music in the club for me. Kudos to him. Yes, when I was on vacation on a cruise.
nice.
Yes. So I would love to go there and actually perform live for them, because the way they were turning up in the club for me, I would love to just show them the real life me.
Oh my God, that's
That would,
big.
yes, that would be probably a goal for me. I would love to go back and show them how far I've come, because this was a few years ago. So I would love to show them how far I've come since then. And
Do
for
it.
them to just be like, "Oh, this girl's amazing." Like,
Do it.
that would be fun. Yes.
Nice. So now you got to put that on your bucket list.
I know. I'm working on
You got to put it in your bucket
it.
list. Now you got to make it happen now.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
So if your younger self heard one of your songs today, how do you think they would react to it?
I want to believe it. I'd be like, "Who is that girl?" I'd be like, "Who is that girl?" Because that ain't me. I don't know. When I was younger, I had very low self esteem, especially my early teens, preteens. I was still trying to figure out myself, and I went through a lot of depression, and I didn't believe in myself. Even though, like, I knew, like, I was intelligent and I had, a lot going for me. I'm like, nah, I could never do that. I could, no, I'm not good enough to do that. That was me, my younger self, and I don't know where the switch came in,
Mm.
but it was like a switch, like, and I don't know if it was me, getting out of an 8-year relationship. It was like a switch for me, like, you don't need that, like, you're better than this, like, you should know better, like, look at you, like, you're a beautiful woman out here doing things that, other people would love to do, like, just keep going, and I wish I could could have told myself that when I was younger, because I probably could have accomplished a lot more. So,
I think we all go through that though, because me, self-esteem was my best friend too.
hmm
Low self-esteem. So I think we all go through that to a degree, because you go through these seasons with children, because children mean you come up and they're telling you what you can't do, and what you shouldn't do, and
yep,
then you start building that confidence in yourself. Well, I don't think I can do that, and then
yeah.
you just don't do it because now you're scared.
Yep, yep. And that's all it is. It's just fear. It's your own fear, and you just have to get over that fear, I
Yep.
guess, and not let it affect you. And I think that that's a huge part, because people to this day will be like, "How do you get on stage and just perform like that and not be scared?" I'm like, I don't know. I like it. It's like a adrenaline rush for me. Like I like that enjoyment. I like getting up there, even if nobody. I could be in a club and nobody's even rocking with me, and I do not care. I'm still gonna perform if there was one person rocking with me or 10,000 people rocking with
I
me,
know that's right.
because at the end of the day, like, I'm doing this for me. Like, if you don't like it, hey, that's your choice. But there's somebody out there that's gonna be like, man, actually that was really good. And you just never know who it could be out there. You never know.
I love your confidence, man. Your confidence is awesome. See,
I
I'm doing this
appreciate
for me. I don't care if it's one or two people rocking with me. I'm still gonna
it.
do me. I
Yep.
love it.
Yep. Thank you. Thank
So the
you.
last question: if your life up to this point was the intro to your EP, what would it sound like, and what would the first line be?
Um, it would probably be something along the lines of like, independent women, we don't need a man, like we got it on our own, rise up above, have that self-love for yourself, something along the lines of that, because that's, I actually have like a song I'm kind of working on like that right now. So
Nice.
so something along the lines of that, just letting people know, like, you don't need a man to do that. Like, get that self-love for yourself. Like, at the end of the day, it's you versus you. And like, there is a part in the song I said is, it's me versus me. It's not nobody else. That's a challenge. It really is. So,
Yes. Ooh, what people don't understand, it really is a challenge, because some days you can feel down and some days you can be up, and you're pretty much battling each other. This one saying, do it, do it. This one like, I
yep,
don't want to do it. I don't feel like it. So
right,
yes,
yep,
I know that
absolutely,
all too well.
yes, yes.
All right, so now I'm gonna play the intro to the verses and the vibes, and then we'll be right back.
Okay.
Welcome to BTS Verses and Vibes. Here's how it works. I'll give you a lyric or a music trivia question. If you got to guess the correct answer, think fast, trust your vibes, and let the verses guide you. Let's see what you really know. Let's go. All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, first question. I'm put it on the screen. Which artist is famous for the hit song Happy?
Oh, what? Oh, I
And
know
the
that song.
options at the bottom are Usher, Bruno Mars, Pharrell Williams, or Justin Timberlake.
Um, is it Pharrell Williams?
Yeah. You
Look,
talking
I
about,
had to
oh,
think. I said,
you like, I do know it. I do know it.
I said
Yeah, Pharrell
happy.
Williams. Yeah. All right. So the next question. Who sang the gospel hit Take Me to the King? Yolanda Adams, Tamla Mann, CC Winans, or Tasha Cobbs Leonard?
Hmm. I don't know a whole lot of gospel, so I might have to guess on this one.
Uh-oh.
Hmm. Take me to the king. I'm gonna go with Tamala Man.
And how you guessing talking about you don't know a whole lot? And that's right.
It was right. Okay. Hey, I'm a good guesser.
Somehow I don't know. The next one is, what is the real name? What is the real name of Missy Elliott? Now this was interesting to me because I didn't even know her real name. So
Okay.
you got Melissa Ann Elliott, Melissa Arnett Elliott, Melinda Arlene Elliott, or Michelle Anita Elliott. And I was looking at these names, I was like, what?
Let me look at the choices again. Let's see. I'm gonna go with, because I honestly don't know. You think I would know this?
Listen, I
Um,
didn't know it either when until I was like, what? That's her name?
I would say. Michelle Anita Elliott. No.
Melissa
Melissa.
Arnett
That was
Elliott.
gonna be my second choice. Okay.
She don't look like no Melissa.
No, not at all. No Melissa. But I Missy, Melissa. Okay, I can see that, I
So okay,
guess.
the last one. I think this is the last one. Let's see. Did I put it on the screen? Still ticking now. Okay, which artist was the first woman inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? You
Hmm.
got Aretha Franklin, Tina Turner, Janis Joplin, or Etta James.
Okay. Hmm. I'm gonna go with. This is a tough one. I might have to guess on this
You're
one
gonna
too.
learn something today now.
No, for real. Let's go with Janis Joplin.
Aretha Franklin.
Oh, that was gonna. I should have went with that. That was gonna be my
Yep,
first choice.
Aretha Franklin. Oh man, all of them except for one.
Man.
All right, so now this is the time where you shine. It is your moment to let everybody know what's coming up next for you. Whatever you want to tell them, because we move in silence over here. Whatever you want to tell them, and how to follow your journey. And I want you to answer one last question when you
Okay.
get up here. If this was your last time that you got to speak to your audience,
Hmm.
what truth would you leave them with about who you are and what you stand for? So I'm gonna play the countdown, and when I come back, don't freak out. You're gonna be up here by yourself, and this is
Okay.
gonna be your moment. All right.
Okay. All right, y'all. So I'm SJ. So you can follow me on all platforms right now. I'm streaming on all platforms. I am currently working on an EP that should be done here in a couple months. I am getting ready to shoot a music video next month, and that's gonna drop here in a couple months as well. So be looking out for that on YouTube. But you can find me on Apple Music, Spotify. Um, Anywhere. I'm really streaming everywhere right now. I do want to leave this with y'all. Do not, I swear, do not let anybody tell you different about what you want to do in life. If you feel like you can do something, put your mind to it and do it. Like I didn't think I would be here today, what I'm doing right now. So I mean, at the end of the day, keep going, keep pushing, keep striving. Even if you think you can't do it, keep going and see what happens. You just never know in this life. Like, to be honest, keep pushing, keep striving for what you stand for. At the end of the day, I'm all about empowering women, us independent women out here, us single women, us single moms, all of that. Just keep pushing, keep going. At the end of the day, you can do it. And that's the best advice I could give you. Just keep going.
She said that's the best advice I can give you. Just keep going.
Keep going.
I need one song that you got out right now that I can highlight. One song,
I would say Captain Stance.
Captain Stance.
Yep.
Because I do music promos for my artists,
Okay.
and I do them quite often because I love music. So I did one today earlier today, and I was like, man, I think I gotta go back one more time. Tomorrow's Saturday, so I'm just gonna vibe tomorrow.
Okay.
So I'm
Yeah.
gonna I'm gonna play Captain Stance.
All right, let's do it. Yep. That's my hit right now. But my new song is gonna drop next month. I'm shooting the music video in 2 weeks, so in
Okay.
Atlanta. So we gonna be out here.
Make sure you send that to me so I can highlight it.
All right, I definitely will.
I got you. But thank you so much for coming and sitting and chatting with me and allowing me to highlight you as an artist. We in it now. We
We
in
in
it
it,
forever. We in it to win it. We
most
got
definitely.
this. So if there's anything that I can do on my end to further your journey, I'm here.
Most
You got
definitely.
it.
I appreciate you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. And thank you so much to everybody else out there that's tuning into this amazing episode, y'all. Let me tell y'all something. Y'all gotta go make sure y'all get her music. She is confident. I've never seen confidence. If confidence was a person, she would be it. She would be it. So y'all make sure y'all go stream the music. And trust me, I'm gonna keep you updated on her music. So I love to play music by my artist. So y'all gonna hear some music from her. And I love the video. So I'm glad that she's working on the video so I can highlight that video. So y'all stay tuned, stay strong, stay inspired, and believe in yourself. Your voice has power and you have a story to tell. So start right now believing in yourself. So till next time, later. Thank you for tuning in today. If something spoke to your soul, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs it. Be sure to follow, subscribe, and drop a review to let me know how I'm impacting your journey. And before I go, listen to this powerful review from one of my amazing guests. You don't want to miss what they had to say. Later.
Hi everybody, this is Marilyn Simmons from Marilyn Simmons Official and A Touch of Seasoning. I want to encourage you all to go on over to YouTube and subscribe to author Nikki Nicole's channel, Breaking the Silence. I was previously a guest on the show, and I tell you, author Nikki made me feel so comfortable. She is an amazing host. We laughed and it brought up memories that made me cry, but they were great memories, and she really brought out the best in me. She is awesome, awesome, awesome. So make sure that you check out the interview on Breaking the Silence on YouTube and subscribe to author Nikki Nicole.